You are to the right of me on foreign policy.
Well, we already fund Israel, dude.
Yeah.
Are you against that?
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to.
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to it. Whoopsie. Hey, Majority Report. Thank you for the raid. Hope you guys had a good stream. I tuned in a little bit. I saw Emma talking about how, Tim Pool was ridiculous. And Emma was pushing Tim on basically describing his position for once in his life. And Tim Pool, of course, did not deliver on that front because he refuses to ever talk about policy. His position is center-left. He's very clear about it. Yeah. He's center-left. He's as center-left as you can get, which is why he supports Donald Trump.
This is what you do. I can invite you on for a real conversation, and what do? You're just for neo-Nazis. This is why you guys don't get invited places, because you're not having real conversations.
I don't really care about getting invited places.
Yeah, right. So go live in your grifter echo chamber where you guys can play songs with bad audio and then say, whoopsie, grifters.
Whoopsie. Why did he make that? Why did he make that noise with his mouth and throat? Center left, left to who? Mussolini? No. I don't even know if he could clear that. Whoopsie. It's a Mortal Kombat reference. I have no idea what that is, but that's crazy. He told Emma that she is to the right of him because she supports Palestine. Yeah, I heard that one. That one was really funny. I saw that clip. This is a great conversation. If you want to understand, Tim Pool's positions, okay? Here's what he said.
First, then, I mean, that's pro-imperialism. That's not, and that's still pro-war.
No,
yes, it is.
A lot of people around the world do a lot of bad things. I don't think the U.S. should be an empire going and funding wars all over the world.
We're not funding wars. We're funding the defense. I mean, like, and there's.
So I don't even agree fully with what Emma is saying here. Like, her position is that our position in Ukraine is purely a defensive one. Like, we're funding the defense of Ukraine. I mean, there's truth to what she's saying, obviously, which it is true. We are technically funding the defense of Ukraine. That is true. Ukraine is invaded. America is funneling weapons into Ukraine, and Ukraine is defending itself from Russian invasion. That part is technically true. Our interests are not obviously honest or good or moral. Our interests in Ukraine are the continuation of that war as long as possible, because that's a really good way to, continue making money for the military-industrial complex. Like, that part is also true, right? We're still using it as a proxy war. It's fine. For the sake of the argument that she's making here.
Something that you can be said where should we draw a certain line? I have already conceded that strings should be attached and we should be involved in peace negotiations. But to flatten the power dynamic.
Yeah, she says we should do conditional aid, which is my point as well, for the record. For those of you who don't know, I have said this exact same thing as well. If you're going to do aid, I would rather have it be humanitarian. And if you're going to do any kind of lethal aid, okay, it has to be conditional. Okay, it has to be conditional, and the conditions have to be that like peace negotiations have to happen.
Dynamics here. I mean, I would imagine this is like the same argument that you hear when it comes to Israel and Palestine, right? Where Palestinians are defending themselves, and then it's, oh my gosh, they are just it's completely symmetrical. Israel and Palestine. These are two actors just battling it out.
To your favor of intervention there?
I would love to fund Palestinians so that they were able to have a better life for themselves.
You are to the right of me on foreign policy.
Well, we already fund Israel, dude.
Yeah.
Are you against that?
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to.
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to it. Why? Because plenty of people in his audience despise Israel, maybe for other reasons. Okay, so he can't come out of the gate swinging, because the Republican Party, or at least like the more internet side of the Republican audience, is comprised of people on the one hand who are neocons and like massive Zionists, who are, white supremacists, white evangelical Christians, the largest pro-Israel group in this country, not American Jews, but white evangelical Protestants, okay? So that's one part of his audience. And then the other part of his audience is like people who are like, Israel sucks because they're Jews and they control America because they're the dudes that say that are like the Nazis. So he has to be in this like weird position now where he has to be in this position where he's like, well, that's complicated. It's like, why is that complicated? You just said personally, You just said that like you don't think we should be arming conflicts. Like what do you say to like Obama giving $38 billion to Israel and still coming across as like the most anti-Semitic president that America has ever had? What's up with that?
In my opinion, this was one of the more revealing moments in the debate.
Yeah.
I would love to fund Palestinians so that they were able to have a better life
You are
for
to the
themselves.
right of me on foreign policy.
Well, we already fund Israel, dude.
Yeah.
Are you against that?
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to.
Okay, go back.
You're not going to make me address.
You are to the right
the
of me.
recipient, the recipient of the largest amount of military aid that we have given on a consistent basis for decades. You're not going to ask me to answer that question, are you? What did he say after that? Is there any more to that
let's
clip?
keep
Oh my
going.
God, it is so hilarious.
Well, we already fund Israel, dude.
Yeah.
Are you against that?
That's a tougher question. I don't have an answer to.
And you're in favor of funding military.
No.
We fund the Iron
Me
Dome.
literally saying
we fund their
I don't
military-industrial
know
complex.
anything enough about it.
Then if it's your principle and you're anti-war, then you should be saying that we should cut Israel funding for Israeli defense right now.
I lean. That's why I said 99%. I'll say I absolutely lean against providing military aid to Israel. I just don't know. I will say a new war in Ukraine.
He's really engaged in it. We've only been doing that. It has only been the biggest recipient of our military aid for decades.
Yeah, it's only like one of the three foundational planks of foreign policy that I think most people like to comment on there.
Right. You haven't done deep dive into the latest crime situation that took place.
This
black guy did.
Yeah.
A black guy did once.
in Illinois. You don't know the details of that? Are you kidding me? Yeah. But funding Israel, I haven't really looked into that.
I've gone into the qualitative data of every time a mentally ill person has pushed somebody onto the subway tracks in New York. And let's get into the deep dive of each of those. But whether we should keep giving money to Israel, you know what? I never really encountered that.
Never thought about it. Never thought about it.
That was an issue.
When I am the principled anti-war person on here.
Even the most anti-Semitic president, okay, in U.S. history still gave a 10-year $38 billion proposal to Israel, like weapons, munitions, all that stuff. So what's going on there, right? But of course, he can't say that. He can't be like, yeah, that's unacceptable. Because then he'd piss off the Republicans in the audience that are like, no, we have to wipe out the Palestinian scourge, because they're Muslim or because, they want Megiddo and Armageddon. They want Jesus to come back to earth once that entire area is given to the chosen sons and daughters of God so that the rapture can happen and then all the good evangelical Christians can be sucked up into space. And then, of course, everyone else, which includes the Jews that are in Israel, die in eternal damnation in hellfire because they didn't convert to evangelical Christianity. But that's we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know what I mean? That's like their attitude. Now they believe the Jewish people also go to heaven because they're God's chosen people. They absolutely will not. They do not believe that Jewish people will go to heaven. They believe that Jewish people will go to heaven on the condition that they convert to Christianity. You are wrong. They 100% do not believe that Jewish people will go to heaven. Okay? What are you talking about? No one goes to heaven unless they are converted to Christianity under their way of thinking. You're out of your mind. Jewish people don't even have an afterlife, Lamau. I know, but I'm talking about like the perspective of Christianity and evangelical Christians. White evangelical Protestants, okay, believe the anime style thing that I just explained to you, okay? What I just described to you is not what is going to happen. What I described to you is simply what evangelical Protestants believe in the United States of America. Yeah. Christians believe that during the end times, Jews will be given the opportunity to convert or be sent to hell with the rest of us. Whoopsie!